The deed is done. The chamber is silent. Those harrowing jingles of a man chained to his consequences still seem to echo through the silent prison. A man guilty of murder rotted here for 17 years. His only friend, the darkness. I know his spirit is still imprisoned. No monster can escape this hellhole, not even in death. I had to act as the Grim Reaper. I forced myself to stare at the monster's contorted face once I had turned his key and released him from his solidarity. That's when I saw them. His eyes. They lacked the remorse that humans have. When we finally completed the long walk of shame, he was greeted by the leather straps and the metal slab that was referred to as a table or a bed for the damned. It was to be his last stop. His final meal, steak, was heavy on his breath. And passing by the other iron bars of trapped souls, everyone knew that one more soul had been condemned to eternal suffering. Indeed, monsters do exist. I have to face them every day, and I proudly stare back at them in the madness. Curious creatures. I can't help but wonder why they do what it is they do. I realize that I belong among them, and yet I am freer than any of them will ever be. Personally, I had the honor of strapping him down with the leather wrist constraints and tortured him slowly by forcing him to listen to the constant humming of the cold fluorescent lights. There was no audience, no watchers. No one cared about this cold-blooded murderer. So I did my job. I filled the needle and realized I held the last moments of this man's life in my hand. I felt he had something to say. After all, every dying man deserves to speak his last words. So I asked him, "Any last words?" The man who had once so vocally proclaimed his innocence to the cinder blocks of his cell was now silent and broken. I responded, "Well, I have a few." Needle in hand, man in sight, I leaned in. It was me.